Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's Q&A. I'm Johnny Downey. Some of you may know me from Facebook. I've been away for about a week, so I haven't been doing many Zooms. But for those of you that are new, I'm one of the corporate mentors. We used to call ourselves trainers, but for legal reasons, we have to say mentors. And I've been with Cornerstone since last November. And since then, we've had a huge influx of agents. I became a mentor in January, and I've been doing not only the Zoom trainings, but some custom trainings as well. So with that said, tonight's session, if this is your first Q&A, this is your session or your time to ask questions. And it can be about anything. I'll try my best to answer the questions. Some of these sessions can get pretty challenging at times, but if you are an agent that has some experience and want to interject, I welcome that. Also, I prefer that you speak out rather than chat, but I will answer questions in chat too. So, don't be shy. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your questions. So, with that said, who wants to go first? Can be about anything.
Hey Johnny, it's Penny.
Hi, Penny.
Hey, I have a question about annual insurance if you're trying to get a rate. I
Okay.
haven't booked one yet, so I don't know. What do you put in for the value?
So when you're looking for annual insurance, I know you're talking through Allianz,
Yes.
is it? You can put basically any number, and then it will give you options for um, different plans. And in those options, there'll be annual plans. And so you'll have like a $10,000 plan, a $15,000 plan, maybe even like a $5,000 plan.
Okay, so like the premium or the basic or the whatever other plan. So there's the different tiers.
Right.
Okay.
So let's get in there and I will show you.
Okay.
So we'll just throw this together. Um, for those of you that are new, I do recommend going back to I believe it was the 14th. I did a training on Allianz. These dates don't really matter much.
Okay.
It does have to be within um like this week or so if you want to start an annual plan, this week. Okay. So you see here we have the classic plan. I'm just going to close that. And as we work our down, you'll see annual plans. So you got the premier 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, and 15,000. Okay. Are you familiar with how annual plans work?
No.
Okay. So the difference between an annual plan and like a classic plan, um, let's say you're going to do $5,000 worth of travel this year. So you probably want like the $5,000 plan. So let's say you do a $2,000 cruise. Something happens where you have to cancel, and it's beyond being refundable. So you file a claim for the $2,000. the $2,000 will come out of that $5,000. So after you file that claim, you'll only have $3,000 left for the year.
Okay. Yep, I understand.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So it's the value amount, the dollar amount per year. So you can do 4 trips for $1,000 and be covered.
Right. Under the
Okay.
5K plan.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And let's say you have a 10K plan and you go to Europe and you're going to spend $15,000. All you would do is then um, buy a supplemental $5,000 plan, a one-time plan like the classic plan.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Providing you
Sounds good.
haven't
Thank you.
providing you haven't used any of it.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
No problem.
So I was just looking at this today too as well. What is the annual deluxe plan?
The executive plan, you mean?
No, the deluxe right above the annual executive. Yeah.
Oh, this one? Good question. Um, it's just probably coverages. So, what you need to do is just get in here and look at what the difference in coverages are. So, if I don't think there's a compare button. There isn't a compare button. Oh, there. No, here. Um, Deluxe. Okay. Between like the annual premiere, the deluxe. So you only get $3,000 trip cancellation, $3,000 trip interruption. It seems like it's just a smaller plan.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that helps
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, it's just your coverages, how much you get covered. Did you see where I did that comparison?
I did, and I had missed that earlier. That was great information
Okay.
there.
Yep, I told I said there's no comparison button, and then I remembered there is, but I just had to find it.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
I just put a um something into test and I went under Vax to get it, but it was through FunJet. So do I put FunJets or do I put Vax
You put
as a
FunJet.
vendor?
FunJet.
Okay, thank you.
So Vax is like an all-encompassing, supplier. They have, I don't know how many, 8 or so suppliers all under their umbrella. So you always want to put the supplier you are using. Hi, Cammy.
Hey, Johnny.
What else you guys have for me?
Can you hear me, Johnny?
Yes, I can.
Well, if there's time and you need a subject, any chance you want to maybe cover a little bit of like searching cruises in Cruise Complete?
Sure. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Is it? Well, that's what I was wondering as I was digging this weekend. If you use it more so for searching, and how often do you actually find that you book a cruise that route versus on the supplier page?
I will tell you personally, I never book a cruise through Cruise Complete. I go straight
Okay.
to the supplier. And the
Okay.
reason I do it that way is Cruise Complete is basically a third party vendor. because you're going through. What's that? Okay. Cruise Complete is basically a third-party vendor, and I use it for reference. So if I have somebody that comes to me and says, "Hey, find me a cruise next summer. I want to go to the Caribbean, and I want it to be either June or July," I'll come here. And of course, I'll ask them, how many people, are their kids going? So let's just assume this is a family of four, and I'm going to go June 1st through July 31st because they're out of school and they want to do a 7-day. So I'll put 7 days in here. And I'll go like up to 10 days because sometimes you can get some pretty good deals for 7 to 10-day cruises. And destinations, they want to go to the Caribbean. And I've had people say Southern, right here you see it says Caribbean,
Mhm.
Caribbean Southern, Caribbean Eastern, Caribbean Western. I've had people be very specific and say, I want to go like us do a Southern. So you can click that as well. And that's what I like about Cruise Complete. There's a lot of different filters you can use. And then we're going to search. Now, Kimmy, you opened up a can of worms.
Sorry.
And I say that in jest because there's a lot of cool things that Travel Leaders Network allows us to do, especially when it comes to cruises. So here, let's say they want a balcony room. You can come in here and actually go to balcony price ascending. And it's going to start with the lowest pricing and go. So here on the Jewel of the Seas, which is Royal Caribbean, June 6th, that's going to be the cheapest balcony room. And then as I see it, it goes up. What's nice is I can start, let's say they don't want to go on an older ship, or there's specific ships they want to go on, like let's say like the Norwegian Escape. I can come filter it even more. Let's go to like the Horizon. And this is stuff that, knowing your client, you can, do yourself. Let's say they're really interested in maybe the icon as well. So we can come in here and start looking at these cruises. Now, the can of worms can be opened up is as you look at these cruises, you'll see this gift box here. It means Travel Leaders Network has taken out group space on this cruise and they have an amenity offer. So you can click on it and it's up to $100 onboard credit. So what you would need to do is as we book through Norwegian or through Cruise Complete, it's really up to you and your preferences. This is going to be the code that shows up in the offers in Norwegian, and you're going to want to click that. And that's basically going to put them in the group in order to get that amenity. Now, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to see if I can find I don't see the icon. So let me, oh, I never clicked on it. The icon's probably going to be down. No, must not have anything available on the icon. Let me get rid of these other ships real quick.
Johnny, when I was kind of digging around and playing around in it, if you scroll up to the top, because
Mhm.
I was just, there's so many, like if you, oh, filter by, if you go by grouped view, did you ever try that view? It actually kind of worked kind of cool.
Group view, where's that?
That right in the, just above the
Grouped view.
track.
Okay.
And I only did this real quick, but it just kind of neat, grouped them neatly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
I think, I don't know if that helps any.
Well, let's see if I can find a royal ship here. This is, what ship is this? The Adventure of the Seas. Okay. There's a reason I picked Royal, because Royal makes it really easy to find the Travelators Network cruises, and I'll get into Royal and show you. So this is amenity departure June 26th, 26. And when I click on it, $50 onboard credit. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. Okay. I'm going to log into Cruising Power really quick and show you guys what it will look like on the Royal side of things. So we're going to pick the Adventure of the Seas, and we're going to do, what was that, June 26th? And I'm just going to search. I can put a couple, say Arizona, H55, law enforcement. So when you log into like Royal, and the latest one is Virgin does this too, you automatically have access to the TLN group. So this automatically will come up and show you that there's amenities available in the TLN group for this cruise of $50 onboard credit. Now, as we scroll down, you'll see group allocation, and it says TLN add USD. That's the group number, and then the group prevailing best rate, and then the best rate through Royal. So as I scroll down here in this middle section, I'm going to be looking to see if there's any rooms available. There are 10 Ocean View rooms available. They're $2,224, okay, per person. I can come over here to Royal's best rate, which is $2,003. Well, I'm going to click that. All right. So this won't put them in the group right away. Now I'll explain that in a little bit. Conversely, if you come down in here, and let's say the Ocean View and Royal's best rate is $2,200, but the group rate is only $2,000, you can put your customer in that group rate, which will automatically put them in the group and then get them that amenity. So if you have customers that come to you and say, can you find me a cheaper rate? And you can come in here and look to see if there's any Travelators Network group rates. You save them $200, and then you're giving them $500 or $50 onboard credit as well. So to do that, to put them, let's say you do book them with a Royal rate. I'm gonna just go through here really quick. It might ask me to put information in, so we'll go as far as I can. And I'm just gonna pick a random room. Yeah, it's gonna get to guest details, but when we get here, I'm gonna show you something. See this over here on the left hand side, you have this little section. Once you do book this, down here towards the bottom, there'll be an option to transfer to group. So let's say you book them with a Royal rate. The group rate was too expensive. You can, once they're booked, you can come down here, hit transfer into group. It's going to ask you what group you want to transfer. There usually be just a TLN group that pops up. So you're going to click on that group and hit transfer. you'll get a warning message saying that, especially if you've added gratuities, that gratuities are going to be taken off, but add it back in, because group gratuities are different than regular gratuities. Sometimes they're cheaper. Okay. So they'll take the gratuities out of the reservation, they'll transfer it into the group, and then within a day or two, you'll see them come back, and then you'll see at the bottom of the pricing, which we can't see right now, but at the bottom of the pricing, you'll see the onboard credit. So I can actually show you what that looks like, because I have a cruise coming up. And so I'll get into my booking and show you. And this is what I did for my own bookings too, is I booked through Royal. There wasn't a better group rate. In fact, I did a guaranteed room. And so this is what I'm talking about. Like down here on the left, you have all this extra stuff. It'll pop up down under managed and say transfer into group. So when you go down to final price and I scroll down, here's your offer details. So right here is what the group is. It's going to say gap. So group amenity pricing, or I forget what that stands for off the top of my head real quick. So I got $50 onboard credit. Why it went to my wife, I don't know, but probably because for some reason I got this other $50 onboard credit. I don't know if it was like an anniversary thing, but part of some promo with my uh what is it? What's their loyalty? Is it Crown and Anchor? With the Crown and Anchor number, I got extra $50 onboard credit for some reason. So this is where you'll see this when you put them into the group is what my point is. Okay.
So Johnny, you said you booked that through Royal and then transferred yourself into the group?
Yes, and there's 2 other rooms that I have that I booked for other family members, and I transfer them all in the group. Now, the caveat to doing that is if you have to call Royal for something, you have to call the group department, because they are now part of a group. Okay. It's not an individual reservation anymore. So you can refare those typically. And the story I'm going to use, and going back to, finding the difference between the group rate and the Royal rate. I had a neighbor come to me and said, "Hey, I just booked a cruise with Royal. I'm paying this much. Can you see if you can find me a better rate?" And I flat out told him, I go, "I can't do that until you transfer me your reservation." And he's like, "Okay, whatever." So he transferred me the reservation. I got in there, started looking. He had a great rate, caught a great sale. And I'm like, "Right now, I can't help you." Through time, he decided he didn't want a suite anymore and wanted to just go to a balcony room. So we downgraded his room, which I was able to do. But again, I had to call the groups to be able to do that. But going back, when I told him if he transfers his cruise to me, I said, "Hey, I'll give you $50 onboard credit for doing so." And knowing in the back of my head, I can transfer him into the group and get $50 onboard credit. So when I did get his reservation transferred to me, I immediately transferred him into the TLN group, got him the $50 onboard credit, didn't have to come out of my pocket, and I still earned the commission. But through time, he was checking the fares, and every couple of weeks he was texting me, "Hey, the price went down again. The price went down again." My commission went from like $150 to $50 because the price kept going down, and I'm talking over months. So I got a little mad because I put a lot of work into his reservation. And in the end, I'm only getting like $40 out of the whole aggravation of it. But, I do that because you never know when that customer is going to come back to you, for the next time. They may bring their whole family, or they may want some mega trip to Europe. you want to build that trust with your clients. So to me, no trip is too small. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Because I'm going to go back to Travel Leaders Network. So
I have a
here's
question.
Thank you, Johnny.
Okay, go ahead, Penny.
It's Penny. When you did the booking and you transferred it into the group, I know sometimes if there's a group in a supplier's booking, you won't get the commission on that. But if it's in TLN, you get the commission?
When you say the group in the what was the first thing you said?
So there's a group in the TLN, right?
Yep.
That you use the code to get the onboard credit, and you transferred them into the group rate so they can get the onboard credit.
Right.
Okay, so like if you are on Carnival or on Royal Caribbean or another one that somebody else has opened up a group that has some amenities in it, if you transfer your client to that group, then you're not going to get the commission on that, correct?
No, you don't want to do that. Okay.
Right.
So Cornerstone's part of Travel Leaders Network. So Travel Leaders Network allows us to come into their groups and, they pay us our commission. With that said, I want to show you something else. Like I told you,
Okay.
I have another 3 rooms booked for this sailing. And let me see if it will tell me here. There was a spot. And I don't remember. Oh, here it is, right here. Okay. Tour conductor berths. Okay. Right now, it says you need to book 5 additional staterooms to receive your tour conductor credit. You're allowed to get tour conductor credit through Travel Leaders Network, even though it's not technically your group. So that's another perk. So I've put this sailing out there telling people that, hey, I'm going on this cruise. And I just actually booked a buddy of mine this last week who's never been on a cruise. So as I do that, this number will keep going down. And then if I get to 0, because I've booked 8 rooms, I'll earn a tour conductor credit. And that tour conductor credit allows me to maybe take, the way they work tour conductor credits, it's an average of the first person berth in the rooms. So whatever their fare is minus taxes and all that. So basically just their straight fare. I would get that in cash that I could apply to my cruise. I can take that in onboard credit for my cruise only, or I can just distribute it amongst everybody that's in my group. There's just different things you can do with tour conductor credits. If you have a client that comes to you and say, hey, I have a big group, can you put together a group for me? Sometimes you can offer the tour conductor credit to them and say, hey, you brought me this group, I'm going to get your fare for free or discounted. And then you just apply the tour conductor credit to their room. Does everybody understand that?
Yes. So with Travel Leaders Network, it's 8 rooms for the tour conductor credit, where they're like NCL is 5.
No, it's not tied to Travel Leaders Network. It's tied to whatever the cruise policy is.
Okay. Got
But
you.
Travel Leaders Network allows us to earn that tour conductor credit by booking into their groups.
Okay.
Okay, so with that said, a quicker way to look at, and I do this on every cruise I book. I come here in Agent Universe, and I search promos and cruise space. And you're going to come up here to the middle here, cruise space offers. This is all the offers that Travel Leaders Network is offering. So I just leave it on all sailings because this is the different amenities that they have. They have amenity departures, which is usually just the onboard credit. They have distinctive voyages and hosted cruises, you can actually apply through Travel Leaders Network to become a host for one of these hosted cruises. And you basically are a representative for Travel Leaders Network on these cruises. And the distinctive voyages, usually they have some type of cocktail party and excursion that goes along with that cruise. That's the amenity, okay? Rather than onboard credit. The culinary collection, they have some type of culinary. They might have a special lunch on an island for that cruise. I leave it on all sailings. Now, when you click on select a supplier, you'll see all the suppliers that participate in Travel Leaders Network's program. Virgin Voyages just recently joined Travel Leaders Network, which is nice because a couple weeks ago I sold a Virgin cruise and was able to get my client an additional $100 onboard credit on top of the $200 that Virgin was already offering. So you can come up here and let's keep it simple. We'll just keep it with Royal. I'm going to click Royal and let's go to the Adventure of the Seas. Lisa, can you mute yourself, please? And then June 26th was the time. And now I can come down here and see for June in 26 what sailings are available. That was the June 26th, the eight night. Again, this should tell you everything what you need to book the amenity. Ship credit per stateroom is $50. Now, if I go back and let's say I want to do a Princess cruise. Let's say for June. This is going to give you all the Princess sailings that are available. And I'm going to pick this British Isles cruise. They're offering $85 per stateroom credit. And if you read in here, book online via Polar or via Cruise Complete or by calling Princess. When you call, you have to let them know that you're a Travel Leaders Network member. And this is going to give you all the details on how to book it. So it gets tricky with Carnival because you have to put some of these codes in here. And right down here, here's the promo code THN that you would use to get that amenity. Okay. Again, if you have any issues like doing this, because with Princess and some of the other cruise lines, it does get a little tricky. You can just call them and let them know that you're trying to put your reservation in the Travel Leaders Network group. Okay. But again, there are thousands of sailings available for us to do this. So every time I have somebody that comes to me and says, I'm looking for a cruise, and for this time or whatever, and a lot of times the customer has a cruise picked out already, you can come on Travel Leaders Network and see if there's any type of amenity available to them. Okay, now this is Celebrity. And there's a bunch of sailings again here that have something going on. Best of Japan. Let's see. Okay, so this is a distinctive cruise. And this is what I was talking about. Distinctive voyage, including host, private welcome reception, and exclusive shore event. This is the shore event. You can click on here. It's going to give a flyer. You can send this to your clients and say, hey, not only am I going to book this cruise for you, but I'm going to throw in a free excursion. Here's the excursion. You also get a cocktail party and whatever else is offered. So that was that excursion. There's that private welcome reception and then the shore event. So, and then here's how you book it. Again, down here is the code, but again, with just like Royal, Celebrity uses the same booking engine, so it should be like an automatic thing where the group shows up. All right. Everybody understand that? Because I feel like I've talked about it for a long time now. You would apply, Jennifer, you apply it, your tour conductor credit after you've earned it, usually within the month before your cruise. The cruise line will ask you how you want to apply it. You can save it too for a future cruise. So there's a lot of different options. Like I said, you can divvy it up amongst the rooms that you've booked. You can keep it yourself. You can give that credit to somebody else. It all depends on what the cruise line itself allows you to do. So, and like I said, it's one of my favorite subjects because it's very valuable when you can come to your client and say, hey, I've found you not only a really good rate, but I can give you $100 onboard credit too. And then your client's like, wow, I couldn't find that. So it's pretty neat. And I didn't know that Virgin was doing it yet. And so when I went and booked my Virgin cruise, it showed up kind of automatically. And then I had to just verify exactly where that credit was coming from. And I found out that it was Travel Leaders Network. All right, folks, what else?
Hi, I'm Bailey.
Hi,
I'm
Bailey.
completely new to this, and I'm just trying to figure out. I know there was supposed to be an Expedia webinar that was canceled today, and
Yep.
I'm lost on how to even use it.
How to use
And I'm doing
Expedia?
the classes. Yeah, so I use Expedia like normally between
Uh-huh.
that and Hopper, but I'm lost on how necessarily to walk through Expedia
Okay, so
tab.
let's do some mock bookings. Okay, so this is Expedia tab. Okay, so a couple things, and I'll walk through this really quick. I'm just gonna go through the menu really quick. A lot of people miss this. A lot of people don't write down what their commissions are, or get a little lost. You coming down here to your report, and of course, it's gonna ask for travel dates. So I don't think I've had anything in Expedia. Well, I actually I did recently. So here's some packages that I have booked. So as you see, it'll give you the gross of everything and then the commissions earned. So you'll get all that information here. Okay, so that's one way to look up your commission. You have an itinerary builder here, which I'll show you a little bit about that too. Let me get rid of some of these other tabs real quick. And then if you have any active trips, you can come up here to the top. It's going to show some active trips. I got a couple coming up. And again, on one of those trips, you can find your commission will be usually down at the bottom. If it's a package, sometimes it's not. So if it was a hotel down here on the bottom, it will show your commission. So I know I'm kind of like being a little scatterbrained, showing you a couple different things. And I'm doing that just because a lot of people miss these menus, and they ask about commissions and stuff. So, how to book a trip? You got standalone rates and then package rates. Package rates tend to give you a little lower rate if you already have booked them. Let's say you've booked a cruise and now you want to get them their pre-cruise hotel stay. So you'd pick package rates. Standalone rates is usually what I use for a well, I use the standalone rates because I'm including airfare too. But let's see what the difference in this case will be. Okay. So let's say they're going to Miami because they're going to fly in for a cruise, and we're going to pick something a little farther out. Let's say they're leaving on the 8th and they come back on the 15th from their cruise. And I'm going to pick packages. Okay. And I'm from Chicago, so I'm going to say Chicago. And I got to do this again. And I got to show you something really important. They're leaving on the 7th for an 8th cruise and come back on the 15th. When you do a pre-cruise stay, you want to hit this little box over here. I only need accommodations for part of my trip. And we're going to pick the 7th through the 8th. Oh, I totally changed that. The 7th and the 8th. And now we're going to search. Their whole trip is a week long, and you want to put that in because you need air, right? And now it's going to give me all the hotels in Miami. There's a Comfort Inn by the airport that I liked to put my clients in, especially if they're budget friendly, because this is one of the only hotels that actually offer a shuttle to the port. So let's select a room. And a couple things to pay attention to is this non-refundable and refundable. I personally always pick refundable because you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes they change their mind after you book them and they want a different hotel. If you pick non-refundable, they are stuck with it, and then you're stuck explaining to them that, because they wanted the cheapest available option, you put them in a non-refundable room. You can call and try to get out of it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Conversely, if you do get insurance for them, you can file a claim as well. So with that said, let's pick a room. Let's pick the standard king. There's only 4 left. I'm gonna pick a refundable rate, and I'm gonna hit select. So that just adds $19 to the quote. And now it's going to go to the flight portion. Now it's always going to default to the cheapest available options. You may not want the cheapest available option depending on what your client wants. And here's a neat feature that I'm going to show you right here. You see up here it says want to pick up from a different airport. You can explore other airports too. I put O'Hare, which is the biggest airport in Chicago, but we also have Midway, so you can explore those options as well. My clients prefer nonstop flights, so I'm gonna hit nonstop. And still the Spirit flight is cheapest, but they prefer American and they want to get there a little earlier. So let's pick this 8:10 flight. It's going to add $113 per person. And then this menu is going to pop up. You have basic economy, main cabin, main plus, main cabin flexible. Obviously, I try not to book my clients into basic economy because it's the most restrictive. It's non-refundable. They can't carry on any bags. They don't get any seat choices as well. So I'm going to pick the main cabin economy. And then on their flight home, I want to try and stick with American, so I can filter that out here on the side. So, which is what I usually do. And because they're getting off a cruise in the morning, I try not to pick anything before noon. So the closest till noon is this 140. This is kind of expensive, but I'm gonna pick it just for demonstration purposes. And you want to be careful, especially for cruises that you don't pick something too close to when they get off of the ship because they actually might not make their flight. Okay, so the total package is $1,100.88. As you come down, you can verify the choices here. Make sure you have the right flights. You can change your flight or change the fare. And always make sure you read through everything. There are some horror stories, and I'll tell you a quick one. There's a travel agent that booked a family at a resort. Down here in the fine print, it was like on the right-hand side here. It said resort fee, X amount per day. Family brought $500 cash with them for spending money. When they got to the resort said, I need $500 for your resort fee. And the family went, what? And they had to give up their spending money. And they were pretty upset. So you can imagine, you always want to read through all this. Make sure you have your names right, especially since you're booking air here. Over here on the left-hand side, we're going to put in the names for each traveler, and then who's checking into the hotel, the traveler's name. Now, most hotels, you can, especially in Expedia, you can do a book now, pay later. But right now, especially since there's an airfare component, we're going to have to pay $11.88 today. You're always going to have to pay airfare up front. And then here's our commission. It's only 6%. This is mostly for the hotel because air does not pay. But the advantage of doing a package is the packages tend to pay a little bit more than if you were just to do them separately. Okay. So I told you that we are going to compare this, right? So we're at 1188. I'm going to go back and do this the same information with the packets rates because and okay, it looks like that's only for hotels. So again, and I'm sorry if I'm a little flighty with this. It's been a while since I've done a package rate, but I save 20% on package rates. When you're booked any combination of a flight, car, train, cruise. So I'm gonna put Miami in here again, and we're gonna see what kind of package rate we can get for just a hotel. That same hotel that we put those people in. And I'm gonna type in Comfort Inn. I think it was $200 and something. Yeah, 216. Let's see. Put them in that same room. Refundable. Notice the difference. It was $19 for a refundable before. Now it's 38. And notice the difference in the commission, 36 versus 71. But I can add a service charge to this booking as well, which is one thing. You can do it with Expedia Tap. It all depends on the hotel and the way they negotiate. Okay, so on this final screen too, I'm gonna show you something here. This is pay Expedia later with deferred payment balance of $80,000. That has to do with the agency, so um, don't don't worry about that. You can pay now. Again, this isn't, or you pay Expedia later. Let's see, payment date. Okay, yeah, so you can pay them later. Um, and because we're leaving on November 7th, this is like a week before that, so it will automatically pay the booking on 10/29. You're gonna want to put the customer's information in here. You don't ever want to book under an agent card. So always get your client's information and credit card information, and then we're gonna book this. Okay. And then it says it's fully refundable before November 5th. So you can book it, pay for it now, and then it's refundable. Anything in green typically is refundable. Anything in black typically is not. Okay.
Awesome.
Does that help?
Yeah, that helped a lot. And just one more question. Would you Expedia, because I do a lot of flights and hotels for family
Mhm.
members and things. So are they the best option out there, or should I compare them with other suppliers?
You always want to compare.
Okay.
Um, Sometimes, I find it maybe easier to use Expedia Tap and put together a quick package for somebody. But price agencies you can do packages. Sometimes um I've had clients want very specific things. So I had a client that went to Europe this summer. They wanted um they wanted what's it called? Economy plus seating on the airplane, which is a little higher tier seating, and they wanted um to stay in a specific hotel. So when I tried to do it through Expedia Tap and package it, I could not get that Economy Plus to pop up on Expedia. So what I ended up having to do is I use Snap, and I love using Snap because it's a direct connection to the airline's booking engines, whereas anything with Expedia, price agencies, all that stuff, those are usually negotiated rates. So when you book through Snap for airline tickets, you're going to get the most up-to-date current fair pricing. What was cool going through Snap is that Economy Plus ticket for Europe came with a commission through Snap. It does not come with a commission through other suppliers. So, and the way Snap does it is they share the commission with you. So you get 50% of whatever the number that shows up is, but it's still a commission. So I booked that client through Snap, booked the hotel through Expedia, but I did it separately. So wouldn't have been able to do that without researching it and checking other suppliers. I book a lot of personal trips, and I've been actually using beds online a lot lately for my hotels because I have found that especially when you do a net booking is when you take your commission out of the pricing. Um, they have been cheaper than any of the other suppliers. My second go-to usually is price agencies. So in my opinion, Expedia tends to be a little bit more pricier, but sometimes you can get good packages and stuff through them. So it's imperative that you as the agent do your research.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Scott, you got anything for me? Natasha, I see Troy, Heather,
No, I
Lynn.
think I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Juan. Has this been helpful for everybody?
It has for sure.
So that's my goal. Anytime I do these is that we all learn something a little different or new. Each one of us mentors has different experience. We might have different insights to things. I have the topics that I really like to talk about, and some of those topics are what I talked about tonight. There is a lot more that I could go over with Expedia, Bailey. There's just a lot of different things you can do. Vax, I really like Vax. So when you're looking at Vax, if you guys haven't started Wavemakers, the first quarter of Wavemakers has a super great Vax training. So even if you join Wavemakers just to do that training, I recommend it because they go through Vax very thoroughly and all the things that you can do through Vax. So I do recommend that. You're welcome, Natasha. And then Cammy, anything else I should talk about before we go?
I'm good on this end. Nothing pops in my mind at the moment, but
Okay.
I'll catch you next week.
Cammy pops into a lot of my Q&A, so she's somebody I can rely on. Patricia is another one. How you doing, Patricia?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. All right, I'm gonna look over the questions, and there's no more questions. All right, folks, we're right at that hour mark, so I'm gonna wrap things up. This was recorded, so in a couple days there will be a replay. So if you need anything, you can catch that. You can catch some of my other Q&As. I'm gonna look at my calendar real quick and see when my next one will be. I don't think it's this week. I'm doing the morning one next Tuesday, and that's about it for next week. And then, yep, that's it for the next couple weeks. So I appreciate you everybody showing up tonight. If you have any questions, please use the Facebook group, throw your question in there. I'm in there a lot. Jill's in there a lot. We'll answer your question pretty quickly. And then, that's it. So everybody have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Johnny. Good night, everyone.
Thanks
Good
for your
night.
time.
No problem.